Hello everybody and welcome back to The Lost Planeswalker. You're here with me, Jesse, The Lost Planeswalker. In this video, I'm going to talk about Jumpstart 2022, how it works, and what the new and noteworthy cards are. Jumpstart is a very fun idea where you buy two individual packs and shuffle them together. And that's it, you're ready to play. Each pack comes with a curated theme of cards that all synergize together. It has creatures, instants, sorceries, artifacts, enchantments, and lands. Jumpstart is a great way to get people new and old together to play some Magic. Jumpstart is a collection of some new cards and a lot of reprints. Jumpstart 2022 has 835 cards in it, with 51 of those cards brand new, 55 of them with anime art, and 24 of them with new art, and the rest are reprinted cards. Jumpstart is a great way to also play different color combinations and see how they all work together. I wanted to quickly distinguish the difference between Jumpstart sets that have been releasing with each new set and Jumpstart 2022. Wizards of the Coast has been releasing Jumpstart boxes with the new sets in the later half of the year. These only have 5 different themes, with one of each color for the 5 different packs. Jumpstart 2022 has multiple unique themes that can revolve around different card types to tribal synergies. If you were to choose between one or the other, I would always suggest Jumpstart 2022 over any set-based Jumpstart. With that, let's dive into some of those new cards and see what Jumpstart 2022 is all about. Jumpstart 2022 brings us a lot of new amazing legendary creatures and great cards to help fill out some of your favorite decks. Let's start by looking at some of the best new cards from the set. The first couple of cards I want to talk about is a set of cards that have you pay some amount of generic mana and a dual color mana pip to activate its ability. Argus costs Eternal Soldier, has you pay 1 in either white or red. Whenever only Argus is targeted by a spell, you may pay and have that spell copied onto every other creature you control. This means you're not only copying the spell multiple times, but you're also casting that spell to buff your creatures, making them all big threats fast. Kenios, Priest of Thassa, allows you to pay 3 and either a green or a blue to look at the top card of your library, and if it's a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, you may put it onto the battlefield. Along with the Scry ability, you are cheating out big creatures and building a big board fast. Rodolph, Duskbringer, has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink, and has Indestructible if you have gained life this turn. For 1 in a white or black, at your end step, you can return a creature card from your graveyard whose mana value is less than the amount of life you gain this turn. This is a really cool Reanimator card that will be extremely powerful and make some really interesting deck designs. Mizzix, Replica Rider, allows you to copy a spell not cast from your hand for 1 and a blue or red. If the copy was a permanent spell, it gains haste and sacrifices at the end of the turn. You can throw down some large copies of either spells or permanents, and you can take advantage and overpower your opponents. And finally, we have my favorite, Zask, Skittering Swarmlord. You can play lands and insects from your graveyard. When another insect you control dies, put it on the bottom of your library and mill 2. For 1 in a black or green, you can give target insect +1/+0 and Death Touch until end of turn. This is a really cool insect card, and I can't wait to add it to my insect commander deck. Next, let's look at some other noteworthy cards. Starting in white, we have Chains of Custody. This is another white card that takes a permanent your opponents control until it leaves the battlefield. This card also attaches to a creature and gives it Ward 2 to protect it against kill spells. Lita, Mechanical Engineer, is an artifact creature that has a similar ability to Unwinding Clock, but it only untaps artifact creatures. You can also create 5/5 vehicles with its second ability. Magnanimous Magistrate. This is a really interesting card that enters the battlefield with 5 reprieve counters on it. If a non-token creature dies, you can remove reprieve counters off Magnanimous Magistrate equal to its mana cost and has to be 1 or greater. Then you return that to the battlefield. I can see you putting this into a deck that bounces this creature over and over and being able to keep key creatures on the battlefield. Talking about bouncing creatures, we have Preston the Vanisher. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield and it wasn't cast from your hand, create a copy that's a creature but a 0/1 illusion. You can sacrifice 5 illusions for 1 in a white and exile a non-land permanent. Preston can be powerful in 2 amazing ways. 1, you can create copies of creature that give you enter the battlefield abilities that will trigger more times when they leave and return, or you can create copies of cards that have powerful static abilities that you can use to make an unstoppable board state. Moving into blue, we have Alondra, Skydreamer. When you draw your second card each turn, make a 2/2 blue Drake creature token. When you draw your 5th card each turn, Alondra and the Drakes you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. This can be an amazingly powerful card, allowing you to make creatures from out of nowhere and swinging to kill the enemy. Isu, the Abominable, is a legendary Yeti that allows you to look at the top card of your library, play snow lands and permanents off the top, and when a snow permanent enters the battlefield, you may pay either green, white, or blue to put a +1/+1 on Isu. Snow lands and permanents isn't the most filled out group of cards, so the potential isn't as great as some other strategies, but I think that over time, this set of cards will get better and better, and he will become a powerful commander. Pirated Copy is a very interesting shapeshifter card. Pirated Copy allows you to make this card a copy of any creature, and allows for whenever a copy or another card with the same name deals combat damage, you may draw a card. I can see this being an amazing card in some token decks, and copying a token and having a bunch of them swing out, allowing you to draw a lot of cards each turn. Ashcoat of the Shadow Swarm is a rat warlock that, when it attacks or blocks, other rats you control get +X/+X, where X is equal to the number of rats you control. You can also mill 4 cards at the beginning of your end step and return up to 2 rat cards from your graveyard. This is another amazing mill and return card like Zesk. Ashcoat is an instant include in all rat decks and might even be the next best rat commander card. Conductor of Cacophony enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and for a black, you can remove a +1/+1 counter and it deals 1 damage to each other creature and player. This can be a great card to get rid of some pesky tokens, and it's also a mini board wipe. Skull Slitherer Worm is a great card and already has a home in one of my favorite decks. Terragrid is the god of discard, and this creature takes advantage of whether or not your opponent has cards in hand. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and for those who can't, it gets counters. This is a great card because it scales to any point of the game, and if you already have made your opponent discard their hand, you will have a 9/9 in black for 4 mana. Terminate Facilitator allows you to place bounty counters onto a creature or planeswalker. If a creature or planeswalker with a bounty counter on it is dealt damage, it is destroyed. This is a really cool card and can combo off with several other cards to kill any creature or planeswalker you want very easily. Ardaz Cobbler of War is a really cool goblin that buffs up creatures as they enter the battlefield, and allows you to create goblins to attack with. This would be a really good card for Kranko Mob Boss, and a card that gives them all haste. You can have lots of goblins enter the battlefield and swing out for massive damage. Anti-Blighty, Bad Influencer, is a devil advisor who is flying, and whenever you damage yourself, Anti gets that many +1/+1 counters. You may pay 1 and a red to tap Anti and remove any number of those counters and deal them to any target. This would be a great card for any deck that negates damage and uses that to make Anti larger and unstoppable. Brazen Kennedy is a really cool enchantment that has your opponents lose life every time an attacking creature you control dies. This also allows for some red ramp that exiles the top card of your library, and you can play it if you attack this turn. Ogre Battlecaster has first strike, and whenever it attacks, you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard for red and the spell's converted mana cost. If it would be put into a graveyard, then it gets exiled instead. Ogre Battlecaster also gets +X/+0, where X is a card's converted mana cost. Benevolent Hydra is a really cool and powerful creature card. It enters the battlefield with X counters on it, and just like Hardening Scales, if a counter would be placed onto a creature, an additional one is placed on also. You can tap it to move a counter from itself onto another creature. This card works so well with all the different counter synergy decks. Kibo Ukatabi Prince is a very interesting card that would be a very fun commander. When Kibo enters the battlefield, each player makes a banana artifact that sacrifice for a red or green mana, and you gain 2 life. His second ability has you place a +1/+1 counter on all monkey and ape creatures whenever an opponent sacrifices an artifact. Then, whenever Kibo attacks, defending player sacrifices an artifact. This has so many different abilities on this card, and it will surely make for some very interesting games. Runadi Behemoth Caller is a cat shaman. Whenever a creature who costs 5 or more mana enters the battlefield, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it for each mana spent to cast it, -4. It also gives all creatures with 3 or more counters haste. And Rudia taps for mana. This is a green card that might just be too good to play. Green already has large creatures, and this just makes them even larger. This card makes green an even bigger threat than it already was. Spectral Huntcaller is a common card, but has a really cool activated ability. For 5 and a green, you can give all creatures +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. This is a really neat card that can turn a large board state lethal very fast. Now, let's take a look at the anime cards. We don't get any brand new cards done in the anime art style, but a lot of really good cards that people will be putting into their existing decks. Anime and Magic the Gathering have a large crossover fan base. It really surprises me that this is one of the first time that anime art has made its way into a major Magic the Gathering set release. As it stands now, there will be an anime-inspired art card in each pack of Jumpstart, making it easier to collect them all, but more costly to your wallet. It might just be easier to fork over the cash if you want to collect all these cards. But that won't be cheaper either, with these cards are currently selling at a premium price. As time goes on, more and more of them will be introduced into the market and the price should go down. I know, as a big anime fan myself, I will be trying to collect one of each of these cards. There was also an additional 25 cards that received new art for Jumpstart 2022. Some of these cards can be very expensive, making the new art variants even more so. I honestly wish we got more of these cards, but this isn't a core set, so only a few were chosen for the new art. The remaining 700 reprinted cards in Jumpstart 2022 is a mix of expensive cards and some draft chaff, and everything in between. While I'm excited to see Jumpstart come back, and can't wait to open up some packs myself, the price of this set has me wondering, is it really worth it? You are still receiving the same number of packs at 24, but you are paying $100 per box, versus the first Jumpstart currently costing only $86. This has me wondering if my money is really going to be worth it. Jumpstart might have some great value in it, but at the end of the day, this is mostly a reprint set with some new cards to sell packs. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two about the new Jumpstart set. Will you be picking up some packs to play with friends, or are you waiting for Phyrexia All Will Be One coming out next spring? Please leave a comment down below on whether you think Jumpstart 2022 is worth your time and money. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my other content on my channel. I do videos on Monday talking about the basic rule mechanics of Magic the Gathering and show you how to take advantage of them. I also post videos like this talking about new cards and Magic the Gathering news. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.